Could everyone please kindly take a seat? Thank you. Hello and welcome everyone to the 2023 AGM for Tauranga Musical Theatre. Welcome and thanks everyone for coming along. We're just going to go through the agenda. So agenda item 1 is the apologies. Did you want to read out what we've got on there?
Yep. So we've got Abby Crossley, Glenys Humphrey, Siobhan Waterhouse, Colin Knight, Maureen Mason, Alianne Pritchard, Daniel Pepperell, Leanne Pepperell, Max Pepperell, Jan and Merv Beats, and Bobby Howard.
Are there any other apologies from the floor? Yep, we've got that one. Any, Mark O'Connor? Any other apologies? I'd like to move that those apologies be accepted. Could I have a seconder, please? Yay, Katie. Agenda item number 2, recognition of members that have passed away during the year. We're not aware of any. Is there anybody out there that is aware of anybody in that category? Jade Sparks. Thank you, Richard. Jade Sparks, yeah. Thank you. Recognising the life members that we have present, and I've seen Dale and I've seen Tony as she's walking in, and we've got Richard, Neela and Roy here as well. Agenda item number 4 and 5 is the 2022 AGM minutes. Are there any matters that are arising from those? I'd like to move that the 2022 annual general meeting minutes be accepted. Could I have a seconder, please? Roy. Alrighty, number 6, the 2022 President's Report. Uh, 2022. After the COVID difficulties of the past couple of years, 2022 has ended as a very successful year financially for the Society. Shows. We began by staging Peter Pan Jr. in January in our regular youth show slot. Peter Pan performed very well with a 65% occupancy rate. As we all know, our plan initially was to stage Les Mis at Bay Court in September 2021, which had previously been postponed from September 2020. Unfortunately, COVID-19 changed those plans. 10 days out from packing into Bay Court, New Zealand was back into lockdown and we made the decision to postpone the show. After consulting with all our various stakeholders, we were very fortunate to be able to move Les Mis to February 2022. However, COVID once again reared its ugly head and we were forced to cancel the show less than a week before our opening night, this time after already packing in. This was a very emotional time for all involved. Fortunately, the cast and crew were able to have some of their loved ones witness a dress rehearsal before the production was closed down. The feedback from the lucky ones that were able to witness the dress rehearsal of Les Mis was nothing short of phenomenal, and it was very disappointing that the wider community were unable to see our masterpiece. We applied for insurance cover under the government's Events Transition Support Payment for Les Mis. We were declined twice throughout the process. However, after significant correspondence, ultimately we were granted cover. This meant that given the season had to be cancelled due to COVID, the insurance scheme covered 90% of our unrecoverable costs. This finally happened in August 2022, which was some 7 months after the show was cancelled. The sum was significant and we were incredibly fortunate. Our total paid insurance claim was $102,277.65. If we had not had the insurance or our sponsorship or our donations, we would have suffered a $113,000 loss. In our April-May time slot, we staged That Bloody Woman. That Bloody Woman smashed all of our expectations with the season sold out at the opening weekend. Our patrons were in awe of the story, the talent and the experience. We attempted to add more shows given that phenomenal demand. However, we were unable to due to cast unavailability. Financially, That Bloody Woman profited the Society $30,000. Next up after That Bloody Woman was The Lion King Kids. This was the second kids show linked to our youth program after Seussical Kids the year before. Again, the younger youth, aged 10 to 14, made up the cast, and the older youth, aged 15 to 18, were mentored in production and crew roles. The youth program again filled up incredibly quickly. The Lion King took place across one weekend in May and was a big success. Parents, grandparents, friends and family were thrilled to be able to watch their little ones take part, with many coming to multiple performances, sometimes quite embarrassed that they were coming to multiple performances, across the weekend, resulting in a massive 96% occupancy rate. A big thank you to the incredible team that run our youth program, Hannah Lee, Taylor Scudder and Millie Rowe. All over there. We then turned our focus to We Will Rock You at Bay Court. We Will Rock You was an amazing success in every respect. Firstly, we actually managed to complete a Bay Court season. And secondly, we had an absolutely incredible team of volunteers who all put in an amazing effort. The feedback was phenomenal, and we ended up selling the most tickets we've ever sold on record for a Bay Court show. This resulted in a net profit for We Will Rock You of $172,000. Before the year ended, we staged the last 5 years. After such a busy year, including preparing essentially 2 Bay Court shows in a year, we wanted to give all our hard-working volunteers a break. And the last 5 years allowed us to do so with a very small cast and crew. Unfortunately, the actual show did not sell particularly well, being relatively unknown. However, those that did see the show provided positive feedback, and it did accomplish the goals that we were after. Before the year ended, our youth program were also able to stage their TMT Youth Showcase. And that showcase encompassed all of their hard work throughout the year, and they were able to perform and show off their talent to their loved ones. Other than staging those various shows, your committee was also able to make very real progress in many other areas. Wi-Fi. We now have fibre installed, and this allows us to provide Wi-Fi to all our cast and crew when they attend full rehearsals. Show worms. I'm going to bring this up on my laptop. So we now have what I'm calling show worms, and this actually graphs the ticket sale history for all of our shows for various categories of Bay Court shows and youth shows and adult shows in here. So that's what the worms look like. So we can track the sales, so it actually really helps with our marketing and our communication and our spend in that area as well. And I'd like to thank Selwyn for all his help in that space as well. Funding. Tracy Andrew has been an absolute superstar for us. Tracy has obtained $94,000 of funding for us in 2022. So on behalf of the Society, Tracy, I cannot thank you enough for everything that you have done. Can we just have a round of applause there? There's also additional funding as well of $47,000, which Tracy has obtained, which is to remediate and renovate this place, which is going to be our main project outside of our shows for 2023, which Sam Howe is leading, wherever Sam is. We've also this year installed a new dryer, a new washing machine, a new steriliser, a new dishwasher, and we have 2 new TVs for the entrance, which are going to have pictures and shows, photos and that sort of thing on it, which is going to be installed over the next little while. Sponsorship. We've now set up the ability for our sponsors to become annual sponsors of the Society, and that annual sponsorship entitles them to tickets to each show and logos in the program, etc. But that annual sponsorship for them is beneficial. It also means for us we're not just dealing with the sponsors sporadically from show to show. And the Society's financial performance, as I mentioned, financially 2022 is an incredibly successful year for us with a $246,000 surplus. This is largely due to that insurance cover that we had for Les Mis, preventing those massive losses that could have been for the Society, the amount of funding and sponsorship that we've received throughout the year, but primarily due to the overwhelming success of We Will Rock You. 2023 and the future. So last month we were able to stage our youth show, Newsies Junior, which was received incredibly well by our patrons. Moving forward, we're staging Jekyll and Hyde in April, buy your tickets. And we then have High School Musical 2 in June as part of our youth program before we head to Bay Court to stage Matilda, the musical. Our season for Matilda has actually been pushed back 1 week from our usual September time slot. It now directly coincides with the September/October school holidays, which we're hoping will benefit the cast and crew, but also the patrons as well. The main focus for 2023 is looking to invest in our society and our future given our very successful 2022, which includes, as I mentioned, the works to our building to really rejuvenate this place, our home, and make this space that much better. It also includes investing in our sound equipment. We're currently progressing our funding for a share of those costs. And our lease actually this year on the building is up, so it's up for renewal. So I'm going to be spending quite a bit of time this year tidying up those lease arrangements because they're a little bit messy. We're confident that 2023 will provide many exciting opportunities for our members and the wider local theatre community. Looking forward to 2024, we are proud to be co-hosting the annual Musical Theatre New Zealand conference with Rotorua Musical Theatre, and that conference is going to be held in Rotorua. Concluding comments. I'd like to thank the committee for their support, their hard work and their dedication to the society in 2022. I always say this, but being a committee member is often a thankless task, but we have had an awesome group of people who've really got stuck in and made that last year, as I've mentioned, an overwhelming success. I'd also like to mention our departing committee members, Ashleen Fahey, James Taylor, Gina Fowler, Charlotte Howe and Kathy Corrin, and thank them for all their hard work that they have put into the society. I continually remain humbled by the thousands of community hours that our members do put in, for the dedication and supportive nature of our members, and I would like to thank you all, our members of our society, and it's because of you that the society remains strong and continues to look forward to that exciting future. Thank you. I touched on there around just thanking our committee meeting, our departing committee members. So last week at our final committee meeting, we did thank those persons, as I've mentioned, and we did give them some small gifts. So I would like to thank again just our outgoing committee members, and if we could give them an applause, James Taylor, Ashleen Fahey, Gina Fowler, Charlotte Howe and Kathy Corrin for their very hard work and commitment. And I would just like to make one special thank you to Kathy. She doesn't know I'm going to do this, but I do want her to be recognised in front of the membership. She's been on committee for many, many years in many roles, in a general committee position, as VP, as a treasurer, and obviously all the other work that she has done as well, including being the head of Department for Wardrobe for many years. So I would like to thank you, Kathy, for all the hard work that you have put in. Kathy is someone that I know that I've turned to when we have discussions around difficult committee matters, and that I know that many others do as well. In the most loving way possible, Kathy is the mum of the theatre, and she will be greatly missed, but hopefully she doesn't go too far. Thank you, Kathy. Are there any questions that arise at this stage from the President's report? Nope. I would like to move that the President's report be taken as read. Could I have a seconder, please? Helen. Helen beat you to it, Vicky. Next one. Alrighty. Agenda item number 7, which is the financials. Kathy.
Thank you very much for your kind words, Jeremy. Really appreciate that. So on to the financials, and tonight I am going to, because I like to have a little bit of a laugh, but I know financials are a serious thing, but we're going to introduce a little bit of fun, and I really enjoy the work of a comedian called Tom Sainsbury. So if any of you have seen Tom Sainsbury, he does the most wonderful impression involving acrostic poems. So I'm going to do an acrostic poem tonight, and my acrostic poem, financials. Fun. Because financials are fun. And who has put the fun into fundraising for us? But Tracy. So again, just reiterating Jeremy's words, that Tracy's done a huge job for us this year, raising a significant amount of money for us. He mentioned those figures, and as Jeremy said, we do have that 45,000 that came into our bank account just this in January. So that's not included in these financials, but will be for next year. Now, last year we had got the message from our members that you wanted a little bit more transparency around our donations and grants and sponsorships. So this year you would have seen in the reports that on the final page we have included that. So that outlines where the donations came from, where the grants came from, how much they were, because when we are coding things, there's a certain, that whatever goes in for show revenue needs to get coded under that show, so it doesn't specifically show up as a donation. So that's why we have put that onto that back page there, so that you can all see, and it's a little bit more transparent for you. But you would have all seen that we do have, as Jeremy said, we've had donations towards radio mics, some of the assets here in the building that were starting to fail, as well as towards some of our shows. I would also like to thank Zoe for securing a fund, a grant from TECT for us towards the unrecoverable costs of Les Mis as well. So thanks to Zoe. So I is for interesting, isn't it? So some interesting points from our statement of financial performance. So you would have seen at the top of my little report there, donations, fundraising and grants. So that was the $54,000, and as you saw on the final page of the financial statement from the accountant, those cover the nearly $30,000 of donations and the $24,000 worth of grants. So that's what that figure is in my report there. And then the rest of it is covered under show revenue. Other interesting things in that, there's the section there that says other revenue. Now that also, that's in the financial statement, but that has come from sale of the Mary Poppins Consortium set that we are part of. So we got $13,000 from that. It also comes from the income from our youth development program. So the youth come on a Friday and they are charged a very nominal fee, and then that goes towards their training, but that's included there in other income. Then also there you would have seen that there's insurance claim. Obviously we haven't had that in other years, so we've just included that, and Jeremy spoke about that one. I'll go into that a little bit as well. Then you would have seen that we have our expenses. So there's the show-related expenses on there. Now those include about $90K of Les Mis expenses in there. So that's not included in the show breakdown that I did a little bit further, because obviously that show didn't go ahead, but it's still included in the accounting under show-related expenses. So that's what's in there. You also would have seen that our admin and our overheads were up a little bit this year. So they were up to $42,500. Now that's because all of our costs went up this year. So lawn mowing, cleaning, all of those sort of day-to-day type of costs went up. We also we started on a different membership platform just to make things a little bit more user-friendly for us. That also covers training. So that's any costs to do with the youth development program is included under those costs there. This year, our youth leaders took some of the kids from the youth training program to a workshop in Auckland where they learned amazing things. It was a fabulous workshop for them, and they also got the chance to perform. And they were going to be performing for you tonight, but unfortunately one of the members has COVID, so they couldn't do their little performance. But they absolutely rocked it by winning the overall Spirit Award, which is just incredible. So tiny little theatre group from Tauranga, up against the whole country. So there were quite significant costs involved with that, but there's a great income coming from the youth development program. Yeah, so as Jeremy said, we do have a surplus of the $246,500 for this year. And next one, N. No, not COVID again. As Jeremy said, we packed out from Peter Pan. That afternoon, we packed in for Lamers. We were just about finished when the government announced that we were heading back into red. So we had to make the very, very difficult, but financially and socially responsible decision to cancel the season. So that was, as Jeremy said, really heartbreaking, really hard on the cast and crew and the creative team. People who'd been wanting to do this since the last one. But we did, what came out of that was an amazing community spirit. So we had a lot of support, both emotionally and financially, from our membership, from our community, with regard to that. So we're very, very appreciative of that support, kind words, but also donations. It's a show that means a lot to a lot of people. For some people, it was the first show that they saw, and it's meant a lot to them over their lives. So, it means a lot to us and a lot to them. So thank you to everyone who assisted with that. Where am I up to with that? So as Jeremy said, we applied for and were successful in securing an insurance claim to cover our unrecoverable costs. So this was a very time-consuming process that mainly Jeremy participated in. So we're very thankful that he actually had the foresight to apply for that insurance in the first place, and then go through the very rigorous process of dealing with that. So that was a lot of toing and froing, and every single expense was scrutinised with that. So it was a very tough process that was ultimately successful. We had about $180,000 of budgeted expenses for Lamers, but with everything that happened with some of those costs not being realised due to the show not going ahead, and receiving donations and that insurance claim, it did mean that we didn't end up being in the hole for over $100,000. So very grateful for that. Accounts actually. So our accounts are looking pretty good. When we look at how each show did, Jeremy told you about the occupancy of the show. That's all in my show breakdown there as well. So just notably, you would have seen that that Bloody Woman, a $30,000 income there, which was fantastic. Wonderful figures from from We Will Rock You. And then the last 5 years, so that made a loss of $2,220. So lots of learnings for us as a committee with that. Where we've landed with that is that there was a lot of value outside of the profit line for us. So as Jeremy said, it gave a few of us a little bit of a rest, which was much needed after a 2 Bay Court show year. But also we had new people come into the society. We had new talent, new people in the creative team, and we had virtually everybody who was on the creative or the production team was stepping into a role that they hadn't done before. So lots of upskilling happened there as well. And we were able to utilise wonderful talents of people like Jan Beats. So it was great to see her being involved with that. And then, nice one, that wonderful surplus. Again, thank you to everybody that's been involved with helping us be able to achieve that this year. See, creativity. Creatives will create. So Jeremy talked about each of our shows last year. Just a few specifics there to mention. With Peter Pan, that's our 1 hour show, so that gets an audience particularly of young children. So it's a 1 hour show. It's a great one for little kids and often for older members of the community, grandparents. Some of the rest homes come along to that one as well. And the investment that we made in the aircon makes a huge difference for those summer shows, so that's been absolutely fantastic. That Bloody Woman, that really unique New Zealand story that was magnificently told. As Jeremy said, that sold out before the season even started. And that also gave us quite a we got a bit more profile within our community with that one, with different groups getting involved. So the Christian Women's Temperance Union, they sponsored us for that one, because they are mentioned in the show. So just a few different sponsors coming in for that one, different people being involved. Then our Lion King Kids, which if you saw that, was absolutely delightful. And our youth get mentored into those roles, so that again we're future-proofing, so that people are coming up to replace those of us who end up needing to step down to have a little rest. And We Will Rock You. That was another one that really rose our profile within the community because it had really wide appeal. Also had great marketing, lots of different companies sponsoring us. It was a really good way of bringing TMT's profile up, and it was a fantastic show, just huge amount of fun. And I have talked about the last 5 years. So not back to, but into the future. So the committee is continuing with our strategic planning, with our long-term and our short-term goals, particularly around taking care of the building. So that surplus that we made this year is not just going to sit there doing nothing. It's time for us to be investing in our home. Lots of things need to be done around here. For a while, we've really just been putting Band-Aids on things, but now it's time for some real investment. So that's where our funding is coming in, and our investment, and we have some plans, some short-term goals, and then some bigger long-term things that we're still working on how those will play out. So as Jeremy mentioned, we're going to be investing in our new mics, which will be great, so getting our sound system up to scratch. We're getting scaffolding in on the 18th of March to begin a little bit of work on the outside, which is also going to be wonderful to see, and it will look great. We've got some new TVs coming into the foyer, and that's one of the ways that we not only can value our history, because we're going to try and put up some of the pictures from days gone by, from some of our shows of old, but it's also a way of valuing our sponsors. So we can put sponsors ads onto those as part of our a sponsorship package. And then we've got lots of bigger things, but we need to be managing how those come about. So those won't be this year. We've got enough on our plate for this year, but those will be rolled out in the next few years. We're all in this together. We are hugely appreciative of the over 60,000 volunteer hours that went into making this year very successful. We can't do it without all of you, without all of our members. And no contribution is too small. Don't feel like you haven't got skills, like what you have to offer isn't enough, because it is. And we appreciate you, and we really appreciate the family that we are here, and we want you to feel like we are family here too. Elle, let's go into 2023. We have Newsies, Jekyll and Hyde, Matilda, and we have announced, and Disco Inferno. So lots of, High School Musical, that's right, all in this together. High School Musical Junior 2. High School Musical 2 Junior. Yeah. That's a mouthful. That is going to be another one where our youth development are working on that one in cast, crew and creative team with mentors, and run by our fabulous youth development team over there. And lots of fun for all of our membership, and lots of opportunities for everybody to get involved. So hopefully there'll be something for everyone this year. That's the idea with what we're going for. And then S is for see you later. So this is my final night here. Not forever, but I'm going to have a little bit of a rest. And I have thoroughly appreciated working with such passionate and talented people, and appreciate each one of you, and the laughs that we have, the wonderful times that we have, and helping to make magic on the stage for our members and for our community. So I encourage you to get involved where you can. Make sure that you have a rest when you need to, and let's just make this year wonderful as well. So on that note, I move that the 2022 financial reports are accepted, please. Oh, any questions? Yes, Zoekins.
Yep, sure. So the insurance scheme was designed, at least in my mind, for events such as Bay Dreams, and it was to encourage promoters who put on massive events all around the country to have security in case COVID came back. And there was a lot of criteria that were necessary to get through, and one of them, for example, was you had to sell an average of 5,000 tickets or more, and which we, based on our previous shows, just met the criteria. I decided when I read the criteria that I'd give it a crack. I don't think it's designed for community groups in these sort of situations. They came back initially and declined it on the basis that the event wasn't continuing, so we have Mondays and Tuesdays as dark days in the theatre, and so because the event wasn't on, it wasn't a continuous event, they declined it. And so it was through the Ministry of Business, Innovation and Employment. So I ended up, going through the various people and saying this is ridiculous and going higher up and doing what needed to be done there. They then ultimately came back and said, well, let's use the example of Bay Dreams. Bay Dreams is on every single year over the same weekend. Your event is Les Mis. You didn't do Les Mis last year. And I said, no, we have the same Bay Court time slot every year. Yeah, but last year you did Mamma Mia or you did Wicked. Yeah, but we're not going to put the same show on every single year, are we? No one's going to come to that. So they came around on that issue as well. So we got to the point. It was an enormous effort, but obviously got to the point of once it analysed every single one of those invoices and got through those hurdles, and it had gone up the chain and back again, we got it finally over the line in August. Yeah.
Anything else? It hasn't been seconded yet. Thank you, Richard. Thank you, everybody.
Alrighty. Agenda item number 8 is honorary positions. So honorary solicitor, I'd like to move that Rachel Adams be appointed as the 2023 honorary solicitor. Yep. Seconded by Fraser. Next one, Vicky. Honorary examiner, I'd like to move that Adele Farak be appointed as the 2023 honorary examiner. Zoe. And lastly, honorary patron, that was Zoe. I'd like to move that Dave Gray be appointed as the 2023 honorary patron for TMT. Barry Moore. Alrighty. Agenda item number 9. So election of officers. The following nominations have been received. President Jeremy Sparrow, Vice President Taylor Scudder, Treasurer Helen O'Connor, Secretary Sophie Andrews, and nominations for committee: Eve Kennedy, Millie Rowe, Selwyn West, Siobhan Waterhouse and Zoe Robinson. And I'll just note the sitting members there: Hannah Lee as Vice President, Mark Fowler, Peter Wayman and Sam Howe. As the sufficient nominations have been received and all positions are uncontested, then no vote is required. I will just note, as you will have probably seen in the correspondence that was sent out, there is one of those general committee positions that is a one-year term due to a current committee member leaving midway through, and Millie Rowe has elected to take the shorter one-year term. So all of those persons are elected accordingly, and I would like to move, just get the exact words, that the election of officers for the 2023 committee be accepted. Could I have a seconder, please? Actually, sorry, we'll go Neela. Thanks. Okay, general business, agenda item number 10. Special awards committee would like to award the following persons honorary memberships. This is to thank those that have been incredibly awesome for us and put in a huge amount of effort across the society for the past year. The first person is Gareth Wallace. Benji Wallace. Di Moore. Barry Moore. John Edney. Gina Fowler. Kathy Corrin. Charlotte Howe. And Tracy Andrew. And I would just like to make a very special quick mention to Gareth, Benji, Selwyn and Dale, who have poured hours into sorting out all the tech equipment and the mics and everything that goes into that, which is way beyond my pay grade. So like a massive thank you to you all for your help in that space. Thank you. And I'd also like to move the motion that the above honorary memberships be awarded. Can I have a seconder, please? Zoe. Okay, next special award is the Youth Above and Beyond Award, and this is to recognise a youth member under the age of 18 years who has been an active member of the society and brings enthusiasm to the arts. So can I please ask the youth team to come forward and present that award?
Hi, we're the youth team. We run the youth group, and it's on a Friday night, and it is a joy and a privilege to be a part of the team that runs this youth group. These kids are flipping fantastic, honestly. It's been a fantastic last year. Started off with Peter Pan Jr., and that wasn't specifically run by us, although it was amazing. And then we headed into Lion King, which these two were particularly running at that point, but it was a fantastic opportunity, cool for the teens to be able to run the show, obviously mentored into those roles, great opportunity for them, and then this year they get a chance to actually be in the kids youth show that we're doing, so that's great.
Hi. So after High School Musical, no, that's this year, whoops. Lion King, we auditioned our kids to take them up to Auckland, as Kathy mentioned, to the Junior Musical Theatre Festival New Zealand, where they got to compete alongside a whole heap of schools and musical theatre societies around New Zealand. And we just took up a little group of 6, thinking, we'll just throw a hat in the ring, we'll give it a go. And they walked out of there with the top prize, and we're just so incredibly proud of our kids and the hard work that they put in for their little performance that they did, and we are just so immensely proud of them.
We were going to perform that tonight, but due to sickness we can't. So we are up here to present an award for someone who has shown a lot of leadership and kindness and has really supported our younger members through our program and through Peter Pan. And they have been a member of TMT Youth for quite a while, I think. Yeah. So we would like to present this award. Do you want to say it all together? To Maya.
Come up.
So we have this trophy that you can have for the year, and you can give it back.
We had to trick Maya to come today. Poor thing, thought she was going to have to do a solo. But you don't. Thank you very much, Maya.
And the last award is the Maureen Mason Award, which is our annual award for an outstanding contribution to Tauranga Musical Theatre. The recipient of this year's Maureen Mason Award displays the trait of our beloved Maureen. She is devoted not only to the well-being of our theatre and our volunteers, but also to ensuring a bright and sustainable future for Tauranga Musical Theatre. Her vision is matched by an incredible work ethic, always going above what is expected, and in doing so, we are encouraged to achieve more and believe great things. She manages people effectively, graciously, and with patience, ensuring all team members are cared for and included. She spreads kindness and humour, which alongside her hugely appreciated efforts have been a part of the driving force between our successes in 2023. So the award this year goes to Tracy Andrew. Is there any other general business from anyone? No other general business? Alrighty, 7:43 and the meeting is closed. Could I just note just quickly for the new committee members if we can just have a very quick catch up in the kitchen, and everybody else, there is lots of food around, so please hang around and chat and enjoy the food. And thank you all again for coming.
The dreams in which I'm dying are the best I ever had. Find it hard to tell you, find it hard to change. When people run in circles, it's a very, very well.